Thanks for coming. Great win, probably our best all-around effort. Obviously, we had a couple weaknesses in the game, but overall, really proud of our guys. Extremely grateful to Buckeye Nation for one of the best atmospheres I've been a part of in 30, 29 years, whatever it's been. So extremely grateful to all involved, most importantly our students. Champions for the game, defense, Tommy Shutt, who by the way just had surgery. He'll be out on a wrist. He should be back in a couple weeks. He's out for this game. Hope to get him back because he played very well. Had a sack, had tackle for loss. This is all by the way, a broken bone in his wrist. We found out last week. It was his decision to do the best he could, and obviously a big game. He wanted to play in it, and he did very well. Really impressed with what's happened to Thomas Shutt. You know, he's been a guy that underachieved for a while, but really good family, good people. Great story for Tommy. Adolphus Washington played very disruptive. 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 2 tackles, quarterback pressures, and him and Bosa were very disruptive in their throw game. They had 25 called drop-back passes and only 13 their scrambles and sacks, and our guys did very well against that. Darren Lee, compared to a year ago, they threw it 50 sometimes, so very good. Darren Lee graded out a champion. Von Bell graded out a champion, and defensive player of the game was Joey Bosa. Just dominant. We moved him around, played him inside. That gives a guy like Hubbard a chance to get on the field a little bit, which is, he's earned that right, and played very well. Offense, 3 receivers graded out a champion: Michael Thomas, Jalen, and Braxton, all graded out champion. Did not throw the ball near what I'd like to do, but they were very efficient, and once again Braxton continues to become a wide receiver and did a nice job blocking downfield, and just overall responsibilities as a receiver. Offensive line they were really the player of the game. They did an excellent job. Head outline, Jacoby Bourne and Billy Price all played graded out champions. 2 tight ends again. Marcus Paul played his most extensive time at receiver, with Dontre being dinged up a little bit. His foot's still bothering him, and we have 5 receivers out for that game. And we're still very effective, and Marcus Paul played well. Nick Vanette played well also. Running back, Zeke graded out a champion. Just his, I think he's getting recognition. I hear he does. On Braxton's long run, he went chop the linebacker. Just his effort someday that kid's not going to be with us. We're going to miss as much as his excellent running ability, his toughness, and selflessness without the ball. Players of the game, 2 of them, players of the game. J.T. Barrett graded out very well, over 90%. And Taylor Decker, captain, played probably his best game. Played very, very well. Special teams guys that did well are special efforts with Terry McLaurin, which is great to see. Malik Hooker, he's a guy that's really embracing the whole opportunity that he's been given. He had 3 tackles on kickoff. Bryce Haynes did an excellent job down in the punt. Jeff Green, we had a couple injuries when Josh Perry had a sprained ankle. Book had some cramping issues and tightness, and Cam Williams got thrown out of the game. That put us in a little bit of a dilemma on the sideline with some special teams, and he goes and downs the punt on the 4-yard line. So Jeff Green, really appreciative for him. And then the special teams player of the week is the Australian. He's really, really good at his job. His job is to drop the ball on the 8-yard line, and I think they had 2 catches on the 8, and 2 other ones were down inside the 8. Yeah, down the punt on the 2 and the 4, and 2 fair catches on the 8. Very, very. And then I want to say 56-yard punt against a very, very good returner. 56-yard punt that we forced him to a catch. So that said, about the quarterback issue, nothing's going to be announced right now. We had a night game, obviously. I've met with recruits all day yesterday. I have not had a chance to sit down with the quarterbacks formally and review everything. That'll happen today. So I imagine I do media stuff every day, I think. So tomorrow, it's not keeping anything from anybody. It's just to all involved. And to the staff, it's been when you meet with 6, 7 recruits during the day yesterday, and then we have practice and all that, just didn't have time. So I'll address that at a later date. Answering questions for you.
Front row, Dave.
Coach Torrance Gibson, I don't think was at the game. I don't think he was dressed. What is his status?
He's on the team. He's just, you have to earn the right to dress, and he didn't do it last week. I anticipate he'll be back shortly. Just academics and that kind of stuff. Nothing serious. It's just to go out there, you have to do a series of things.
You know, he switched positions from quarterback to wide receiver. From a football perspective, how's he doing as a wide receiver?
Great. He's done his production and grasp has been better. We haven't made that decision when I say we, because he's going to be involved in that. What we be as his future. Don't know, the injury set him back during training camp, and then obviously you get dive right into the season, a little bit like Mikey Weber. Mike Weber was playing so good, got dinged, and then all of a sudden right in the season you burn his red shirt. So those are all things we're going through right now. We made a decision with Jerome Baker. KJ Hill did not go in, but he's the next one. It's so close just because of this time of year. But Jerome did pretty good when he was in there.
Second row left, Ari.
Coach, you guys are always trying to map out some national recruiting target areas, and New Jersey seems to be one of those places that you guys have spent a lot of time.
I've recruited there for many, many years.
Why do you love New Jersey? How do you feel you guys are doing in creating your little niche out there, and then the competitiveness between some of the other? There's a lot of programs in that area.
Yeah.
To pick that place, why is that?
Well, I think it's very much like Ohio. I think the respect I have for the high school coaches, the seriousness that they take in not just coaching football, but you get those really good New Jersey high schools, man. I think it's a lot like here. About the attention to detail, about the academic, about the character, about all the things that you look for. And that's normally what my history is. That's what you get out of New Jersey. That's why we love it.
When you have Michigan in there, Penn State, obviously Rutgers is there, and then the Virginia schools, it's a very competitive area for a place that you love and a place that you're trying to, infiltrate as a territory for you guys. How tough is it to do that when there's so many other schools?
It's tough, but I think we've done okay. Probably not great, not good enough. You got Noah Brown, who he's one of our top players. You got Curtis Sanders from New York. You got a kid named Kevin Feeder that's going to be flying for our offensive tackle. There's another couple guys from Jersey area, but it's always been Ohio State. Ohio State should be in the middle of that, and we're doing the best we can. I shouldn't say doing the best we can. It sounds silly, but we can always do better. I personally love going. Really good delis out there too. For those of you who haven't been there. Really, really good high school coaches though. Some of my favorite guys are out there.
Front row, Bill.
Do you know in your mind who the quarterback will be next week?
I think so. Yeah, and I've not had once again, we're just behind because of the night game and all that. And you might not believe this, but my whole day doesn't center on this press conference. So there's a lot of things going on. And I have an idea, but I want to make sure I visit with everybody and make sure we're doing the right thing.
Last year in training camp when JT went ahead of Cardale, it was simply because the offense ran better with him. Do you think the offense is running better with JT right now?
I think it ran better yesterday in the football game against Penn State.
Front row right, Austin.
Urban, when you look back to 2012 and what you inherited at linebacker, do you evaluate what talent you had at that position compared to now?
2012.
I mean, you in the middle of the year, you've had
10
Zach
years ago,
Warren
right?
going in there.
Yeah, but that was injuries, and I'm so cautious to start. I'm not one of those blame guys that, well, if they didn't leave us anything, and that's not. They left us fine.
Right.
We had some injuries, and at one point at that Tuesday practice, I do remember we had 3 linebackers out. And I went over and tapped Zach Warren on, what do you think? And so we were a little bit in ground zero Saturday too, when all those kids got hurt. And we're making that decision, trying to get Jerome Baker ready to go. So it's a very strong unit room right now. Kids all care about each other. They're performing pretty well. But I don't really like to go back to 12.
Yeah, it just looks like there's maybe a different level of confidence with the depth you have there. You've had, at certain points, Raekwon left with a concussion in one game. Darren's been out with the
Not a concussion, migraine.
Oh, migraine, sorry. But you've had to replace all 3 of them at some point. And
That's a good point. We've got pretty good production, and I think Luke has done a very good job recruiting and developing that group. I would agree with that.
Far left, Matt.
How delicate is that decision when you have to make it during the season? I know you're going to be on some
Quarterback?
Yeah, with the quarterback, with the players involved. You know,
If there's a change, it's always delicate. That one's probably more because of the obvious. And, someone made a comment, do you really care who plays quarterback the other day? And absolutely we care. Who plays guard? We're not, it's not number, 16 and number 12. Those are peoples. And those are peoples that we care about deeply. And so we're not ashamed to say that. We might operate, well, this is not a business here. This is not, just do we're going to do what's right for the team first, but does the individual and all that take a matter within the confines of this building more than anybody will ever know. So, and we're extremely proud of that. Is that always the right thing to do? In my opinion, it is. So it's really the only thing that counts. And I know our coaches all agree with that, and more importantly, our players agree with that.
I know you strive for balance, and last week you had the exact same.
Yeah, we're very balanced during the game.
But yeah, how does that work as the game develops? You see, hey, the pass game's not going, but look what we're doing. I mean, are you just doing what it takes to win? But are you consciously saying we're not throwing enough, or what?
No, I said that to myself. I said that to because I thought Ed did a really good job preparing our offense for that game. I can't remember their rank, but that was a legitimate run defense. I mean, that was the ones that all week last week that knocked your stomach like, can we block these guys? And they had a certain scheme that we really prepared for, and it worked very well. And it was going and going well. That's why we kept going at it. And I just, I can see now, the Hackenberg, I just had a lot of respect for his quarterback too. He brought him back a year ago. My intent was to eat the clock, give it to Zeke, and let JT to just manage the offense line, and it worked pretty good. Is that what we want to be? No, we want to be balanced. But to answer your question, that was a game management. What was going well, and we're taking care of the football. And you win that game if you take care of the football and keep moving the line of scrimmage.
Front row right. Tim?
Yeah, Urban, and following up on that though, there just from the press box, there seemed to be a zing to the offense with JT in there. I mean, did you sense that too from the sideline and stuff? And,
Sure.
and how much is that playing into, like, as you look forward? Obviously he threw the ball well last year, statistically anyway and stuff. So how is all that playing into as you look forward?
It all does, Tim.
Yeah.
Everything plays into it. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
It certainly plays into it.
Yeah, and the other thing, just JT in particular, have you been impressed by the way he's kept his mind on the game? I mean, yeah.
He's a very, very unique guy. And he's, I always go 10-80-10 is a principle that we use around here, and 10 are elite. And elite doesn't mean great player, it means incredible work ethic and self-discipline and leadership skills, and he's an elite guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the 80%, that's most of us. That's just people have to get up and swing as hard as you can every day. And he's certainly one of the upper 10.
Front row left. Doug?
You mentioned how well the offensive line played on Saturday. We know you had all those guys coming back. What have you seen sort of building up to that game? What was it that came together that allowed them to play their best game Saturday?
Well, the defense played kind of what we thought they would, was number one. We were, it's part of offensive and defensive football is they're not 10 soldiers. So you go out there and practice against something and get something else, and you get the game, you're doing a lot of different things. That's one thing that slows down an offense line. And they played pretty much what we thought they would play, and we prepared very well for it.
And then with the experience you have playing two quarterbacks and with what you've seen the last 2 weeks with that, is there a part of you, is it possible that playing two is better than playing one? Do you keep the opposition on edge? Do you exploit the strengths of both guys? Could two be better than just one guy, the way it's going right now?
Those are all discussions we're going to have soon. I kind of felt that way after the Maryland game, that we had a 300-yard passer and a very productive. That was similar to what I've done before, and it didn't go quite that way. And I know it's not always going to go by script, so I don't know.
Last two questions. Far left. Lori?
Coach, you talked about how you like to put these soft goals with number of touches that a guy gets in a game, correct? What's the upside of that? I mean, I'm assuming you're not doing it for fun, so I'm assuming you get something out of it.
We have a big belief that Scheme isn't what wins games. That's very important. That's not what wins. What wins are the dynamic players that touch the ball. Because it doesn't go, there was a play when JT scored to our right going in about 12, 14, I think a 15-yard run. And it was probably the perfect play. And it's he read the defensive end, the end grabbed the tailback. The tight end came around, fit up on the corner, who squeezed. The wide receiver blocked the X, the tackle grabbed the Mike linebacker, and JT went in for a touchdown. That is so rare when it's perfect, because they're on scholarship too. Someone loses a block, someone does this, they line up not exactly right. And so you can spend all your time on scheme and they don't come out and play. So to us, more important than scheme is who's physically touching that ball. And is that guy have the ability to, like Braxton Miller, had 2 plays yesterday that weren't exactly script, but he's a monster. And so we have to make sure monsters touch, or freaks touch the ball. I'm trying to be respectful here, monsters. I guess great athlete touching the ball. And so that, to answer your question, that's why we do that. Because I've always believed that. You know, the good guys, it goes back to that Notre Dame story. The good guys got to touch the ball. They've earned that right.
So then, to those who wonder if those soft targets might lead you to force the ball where the game doesn't dictate, you're...
Who wonders?
I'm sorry?
Those who wonder.
Yeah, I mean...
Hey, like you?
I didn't assume I was smarter than a national championship coach. I just didn't... I thought there might be a temptation to force the ball, but your
There is.
comeback would be...
It's a great point. There is, and I think the overriding is that when they do touch it, it's dynamic. So there is a little bit of consternation to that, a lot of effort to get that done. And it's really cool to have those options, that there are pieces that you want to touch the ball. So I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but
No.
that is a big part of it, what we do.
And last question, back to Steve.
Yeah, Coach. JT had those 2 nice plays against Virginia Tech, and I think a lot of people assumed at that moment he was all the way back. And then Northern Illinois, you put him out there for 3 quarters, and he did not win the job away from Cardell
That's right.
with his play. A month later now, is he in a groove? Is he getting back to close to what he was a year ago?
I was very observant, and I kind of feel the same thing. He certainly had his opportunity earlier in the year, did not do it. Same thing with training camp. But I feel a little bit like you do, and anybody who watched the game the last 2 weeks, he gets in his, and I think we're doing a good job calling things that he's good at. So I see the same thing that you see.
One last thing. Teaching point was Auburn, when Auburn ran back that missed field goal by Alabama a couple of years ago.
Right.
Like you said, you used that to make a point. Do you take what happened to Michigan Saturday also? Is that a teaching point? I mean, with 10 seconds left, I guess what's the lesson learned from that?
Well, I'm not going to go there. I'm just going to say that every coach in the country, we have something on the 6-yard line now.
Yeah.
As the clock runs down, because the team I was watching, sitting on Saturday night watching, go, oh my gosh, the clock ran out and they lost the game. So we practice it every Friday. So there's a series of things through the last 13, 14 years of being a head coach that we'll practice those situations, because you can't practice everything.
Yeah.
And then I've never seen something like that. How do you practice that? When it shows up? You know, when you see the Hail Mary, you know, when BYU twice this year. You know, I got clips of that. We studied that as a staff. We cover that with our players. Actually show it to our players.
Yeah.
So we're not just that opportunity. Every Saturday when you see one, you use that.
Thanks, Coach. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.